What is going down? You guys will never guess what has happened over the last, I want to say, 2 or 3 months. So basically, I have the podcast, which is doing pretty dope. And thank you guys for the support, everybody that's been subscribing and supporting. The podcast has been going pretty well. And so I've had 5 guests who I won't tell you just yet, but 4 or 5 guests that I've interviewed and had an opportunity to kind of sit down with and just chop it up with. And they've been some absolutely awesome interviews, just getting a chance to talk with these guys and girls and just, have a great time with them. And for some reason, my storage, all of my storage that I use is all cloud-based. And so when I went to pull it up, I could not get any of them. So all of my files, all of the tapes were lost. So it took me almost 2 months to recover all of those, just tons of gigs of media, of content. Finally got it all back, including some like dope, YouTube stuff and everything else. But I finally was able to get it back. Now today, in the corner of the circle, we are actually going to be talking with Bryce Lewis, 2018 IPF 105 World Champion, and Taylor Atwood, 2018 IPF World Champion in the 74 kg class. So I'm really stoked about it, and we're doing it at the same time, man. So this is pretty special for me because I really love both these guys so much. They're just awesome dudes and just good people. So I'm excited about it, man, because finally got the lost tapes, which is super, super exciting. And I get a chance to give it to you guys now. So to give you guys just a quick little background, this is post 2018 Raw Worlds that we had in Calgary. So just to kind of give you an idea of where our heads were at that particular point in time. So without further ado, I give you Bryce Lewis and Taylor Atwood. This is the corner of the circle.
I am as Mac illiterate as they come. I've been working on it, doing my daily reminders of what to do for your Mac to make it, better. And yeah, dude, I suck at it. Anyways, well, let's get it cracking, dude. Now that I've officially embarrassed myself, I swear, man, I'm not as old as I feel. Dude, where do we start, man? We can go down the line. We got 2 champions here. Oh man, it's awesome. Since my right, I'll start with Bryce. We have the USAPL 105 champion. Is that back? You're back to back, correct?
No,
this
was the champion. Silver last
cheese year. And rice. So you ran the table, and of course, the 2018 105 IPF Classic Raw champion. That's crazy, man. That's super crazy.
Yeah, I'm pretty damn stoked for that.
Dude, that's nastiness. And of course, to my right, I have Mr. Taylor Atwood. He actually did win the 74s and at USAPL, and then freaking put on the clinics of all clinics at the Arnold. And it was just kind of like, yo, this dude he's got it, but where did this come from? And went to Worlds and just did his thing, dude. Like, it was just supreme execution, man. 2018 74 kg classic world champ, Mr. Taylor Atwood.
Yes,
that's crazy.
First one.
That's the first, man. Hopefully we'll have more from you boys, man. Dude, I don't even know where to start with you guys, man. Sheesh. I don't like to talk a lot about lifting, on this cast, but I do like to give credit where credit is due. Obviously, Bryce is, he is, the strength athlete. He is Mr. Barbell Brigade. He is one of the smartest individuals I've ever met in my life. You know what I mean? And there's only a few thinkers that I know of that I associate myself with that I know they're gonna. You give them enough time, they'll take it there. And in between Ryan Doris and Bryce Lewis, literally, if you give them, you can give them a cardboard box and just space and time, and they're gonna find a way to break that thing down in any form or fashion, which is it's crazy. So all you need to give Bryce time and opportunity, and he's gonna figure a way to deconstruct you. So yeah, the key with Bryce is you got to spend only 10 minutes at a time with them, and then you run because he's gonna break you down. And of course Taylor, you know, I'm gonna say this about Bryce. I can remember meeting Bryce, but it's at the point now I feel like I've known him forever. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's weird. Like, you meet a person and then you befriend them, and then you can't necessarily pinpoint a time where you actually met them. You know what I mean? Because we've literally gone to war with each other, gone to war beside each other, and the next thing you know, he's gone. And I was actually mad that he left the 93s and went to 105s. Like, who does that? Who does that? But, you know, I mean, then he left and freaking just became Samson. I was like, all right, well, cool. I guess you stay where you don't ever come back now. I'll stay at the 93s. And then, of course, Taylor, while I can't, you know, it's easy not to be able to pinpoint a time that I met Bryce. I can easily remember when I met you and I was like, yo, who's this dude that's benching more than me? That's all I remember. Yo, that's all I remember saying. I was like, who is this dude that's benching more than me? This is insanity. And, dude, and from that point, I was like, it was weird because I remember I was like, we were in the back and I was just like kind of sitting there. I'm like, what's that kid's name? I was like, Taylor Atwood. Cool. And I feel like Troy, like, I'm going to remember the name. I'll remember his name. You know what I mean? Because I just didn't know of you. And then when I knew of you, I'm like, yo, I'm never going to get this kid. And, like, honestly, just year after year after year, man, it's just like the consistency and the persistence, man. It's just, bro, you literally, you know what? I can't even just say Taylor. I can say both of you guys, man. If people that can look at, you know, the USAPL, they can look at the IPF, they can look at powerlifting in general. I'll say that. And they'll see how these guys will come in out of nowhere. I'm like, oh, these guys throwing these crazy numbers. Awesome. But then there's, you know, it's crazy to think of it now. It's more rare now than ever. You see these guys that they start 4 or 5 years back. They're patient. They trust the process, and they just chip at it. People looking for these 10, 15, you know, sometimes 20 kg, you know, PRs. And then you get the, you know, the guys like yourselves like, hey, man, give me that 2.5. Let me get that 2.5. Let me get that 2.5. I'll take that 7.5 right there, you know. And that's, you know, it's crazy because people can look at your body of work at this point. Once you get 4 or 5 plus years in, you know, you kind of get a body of work, and you can literally look back to where you both started and see where it's just you chipped at it. A few skips here and there, but then you kept chipping. And honestly, man, it's for me personally, it's super impressive because I'm not necessarily one. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't go back and look at records. I don't go back and look at people's stuff. I look at my friends' stuff. You know, I can honestly tell you, twice I've ever looked at my own stuff. But I can tell you every time one of my friends is like leveled up, I look at everybody's stuff, like people that I really, really, you know, like admire and adore, man. Like I go back and look at everybody's stuff. I look at their progress, you know, and, you know, I look at that Wilkes and I look like, damn, his weight dropped and he still got stronger. Like, that's crazy. You know what I mean? I peep physiques. I'm like, dude, he's way more bulbous in the shoulders this year than he was last year. Like, he's been putting in work. So it's just cool to see two guys that, you know, not only do I consider you guys friends, but I mean, I look up to you guys in terms of work ethic and just what you do, you know, not just for your immediate circle, but for the sport in general, man. And it's kind of cool, man. Like, I had an opportunity to, what's the word I'm looking for? To like be a fan and watch my boys do their thing. So I don't know, man. Congratulations. I'll say that.
Yeah, I gotta say to both you guys, like, the feeling is absolutely mutual. Like, seeing your work ethic, seeing Taylor's drive, like, just consistently crushing in the gym, like, your just attitude of there is no other choice but domination. There is no other choice but just getting it done, and overturning the next stone and just kind of pushing forward. Like, that's so admirable. And LS, like, I don't know of anyone else who approaches training with like such a positive attitude as you do, like, period. You know, like, other people, great, like they enjoy training and stuff like that. It's fine, but like you just find that place in training every time you're in the gym. Like every video, you might be about to bench 500, but you're joking with your spotter, and like you're dusting off your J's like right before you get to the bench, and it's like, it's like intensity for you, like going to that place is such a casual, collected thing, and you carry that on the platform.
Oh, yeah.
And it's super, super admirable.
I mean, I feel like everybody has their own thing, and I think I'm starting to realize, because I started, and and it's easy because I can point out both of you guys. I think once you find out what works for you, you're good. You know what I mean? And I feel like a lot of times we spend so much time, we all have favorite lifters and favorite modes of doing stuff. But for me, it was, I tried the David Ricks thing. That didn't work for me. I mean, I tried the Densieri thing. Didn't work for me. I tried the Lane thing. Didn't work for me. And I'm like, well, how do I, I tried my old way of doing things. Like, when I played football, I'm like, hey, it's only one way to go. It's like, as soon as the fuse is lit, let's explode and go, like, hurt somebody. I tried that, and it's just not my steez.
Yeah.
And I just found like when I was in training, cracking jokes, watching South Park, listening to music here and there, listening to audiobooks, watching Disney shows, like that's how I train. So, let me see what it feels like, on the platform and doing it. And, it worked. At least for me, it worked, and I, in watching you, Bryce, I noticed, when we're 93s, when you were, it wasn't necessarily even a temp selection. It was just, it seemed like there was so much pressure to get it done. And, not only obviously for, you as a lifter, but also as, the man, the strength athlete. Like, I mean, you've got people watching you, you've got, clients and everything there at the, I felt like there was a lot of pressure or a lot of self-heat pressure. And I don't know if it was, I think it was like the second meet. I think I saw you as a 105. You just looked so relaxed and just like you were yourself. You know what I mean? And like all these, and not that you weren't yourself before, but you were just, I felt like you were just more chill and more relaxed. And you was like, hey, this is the game plan I'm taking into this thing. Let's execute the game plan. And it seemed like it was like day and night difference in terms of just execution. Whereas I'm gonna come back to you. I want you guys to respond. And then with Taylor, oh my gosh, I've never not seen Taylor intense. To be honest with you, I just think, again, this is from the outside looking in. I just think I swear I'm not being a hater. I feel like your strength and your game plan finally caught up into the intensity. Like, I feel like you've always been like, you know what, I can go 0 to 100 anytime you need me to, and I can stay there. Taylor's one of the few people, I can tell you that straight to your face, man to man. You're one of the few people that I can see that you can go up to 1,000% and you'll stay at 1,000% full emotion the whole time and you never come down. You'll keep this snarl and this frown in your face the whole time and it never comes off. And me personally, I would be drained. I'm like, dude, this guy's adrenal glands must be on freaking 100 every time. Because like you keep that intensity and you never drop it. And I've just noticed in terms of your game planning, I feel like it all starts to come together, and it all kind of caught up to the intensity because the intensity's always been there. I've never seen you not intense, but It's just, again, from the outside looking in, it just seems like you guys, your game plans and your confidence and everything caught up to the type of people you are. And again, I feel like once you decide to run your own race, after you put a few miles in this thing, once you start running your own race, I feel like you finally, you kind of decide who you are, the type of lifter you are, and then from there, it's just you do your thing. And again, I definitely want you guys to respond because, I mean, again, that's just what I'm seeing from the outside looking in.
Yeah, no. First, I want to say it's an absolute pleasure to be with you guys on here because I remember both times. The first time I both met each of you, the first time I was at the Arnold when I beat you in bench, and you came up to me, you're like, man, I didn't realize you were so strong. I was looking for third place.
True.
I think I beat you by like maybe 2 bonus points, but I'm thinking like, man, he's a 500-pound bench presser, but you had to lift the day before. So I know that sapped some of your strength. And then Bryce, the first time I met you was at Nationals in Aurora, and I mentioned this on a podcast, but you were giving out cookies. And when you were giving them out, I didn't know who you. I knew you from YouTube because I used to watch your channel, and I was actually gonna enter your TSA.
Where are you?
Athlete search.
Yeah.
And I just never entered, but in Aurora when you were giving out the cookies, I'm thinking to myself, man, is he like facetiously giving these out? I'm not taking any cookies from this guy.
They laced with X-Lax.
Because unless you know with football, when we go to battle, we hate the competition.
You hate your competition. Like, that's all.
It's like ingrained in us.
Yeah.
So I was like, what is this helping of each other and giving out cookies? I was like, what is going on? But that's kind of what drew me in to powerlifting, was the community. And that kind of giving back and kind of being that one holistic family, and I absolutely love that about powerlifting.
Yeah.
Obviously, you have your niche groups that are negative, but for the most part, I think as a whole, powerlifting is on the rise, and it's because of the community for sure.
For sure, without a doubt.
Yeah, I think so. Taylor, I wanted to ask you kind of where some of your game day training attitude comes from. Like you mentioned, you played football. Is it kind of carry over from football and then kind of finding out how do I take this and apply it to powerlifting?
Yes, exactly. So I've always had that attitude ever since I was a young kid. I've just always had that. If I scored a basket playing basketball or scored a touchdown, I was always just 0 to 1,000% after that. Just the emotion took over, and I can't control it at times.
Mm-hmm.
It's a double-edged sword.
Oh yeah.
But on game day in powerlifting, I know now how to control that, when I need to let it out and then when I need to bring it back.
Yeah.
So LS, when you were there in 2016 in Austin, I'll never forget that, when you were just helping like massage my leg and kind of just talk to me. It honestly calmed me down because I was just so amped, and it's my first world stage.
Oh yeah.
And it's in the US.
In the US.
I have my family there. I know I had a chance to win golds, and just all the emotions were coming out. Man. And you were there like a godsend, no lie. And you were kind of there to calm me down when I needed to be calmed down, because it was just that much emotional for me. Like I heard you, Bryce, screaming for me in the crowd.
I tell you,
it really got to me.
The weird thing that I think people don't, unless you've been there, I mean, we've all got at least a couple under our belt in terms of just, going to worlds, people ask me a lot, like how, which one do you, do you like better? Because they, again, from the outside looking in, they see it's like, oh, we're going to Raw Nats. It's at least 1,200 people are going to be lifting. You got these huge venues, and they have the prime time and everything. And mind you, it's high ratings in terms of the streams and all that stuff. So it's glamorous. It's WrestleMania, like a lot of people put it. And so they ask me a lot, like, which one do you like the most? While I'm honest every time. I was like, honestly, I am a nervous wreck for Raw Nats. I'm absolute nervous wreck for Raw Nats. And then for Worlds, it's a different type of nervousness. It's a different type of pressure, because you're representing all those people that you busted your butt to beat. You know what I'm saying? Or you tried to beat at least. Raw Nats is just it's such a different feel. But once you get through the Raw Nats, and I feel like it's almost like a process of purification. Like you have to go, you got to get through this fire, You know what I mean? You're just this raw metal at first. You know, you go through this fire, all the impurities that you had in you, all the weaknesses that you felt you had, all that stuff. It's like you're almost like it's just like just flushed out of you, and then you're like steel when you come out of it. So once you get to Worlds, it's even though it's just as much pressure, it's twice as prestigious. It's not as nerve-wracking in that it's not a lot of external pressure, but rather so much more internal pressure to get the job done. And if you can learn, by that time, in terms of just being an experienced lifter, if you can learn to, retreat within yourself and just, hone the skills and just keep your mind in the game and just execute a good plan, you can come out pretty well. But again, for so many people, it's hard to see that because, again, all they see is, it's damn near 2,000 people over there lifting, and once you get all the people, I mean, at any given point in time, like, there's damn near 3,000 people in one room watching. How crazy is that? $2 to $3 grand just watching you lift. Honestly, when I think about it, I'm like, dude, it's the most uncomfortable feeling that I can have because I'm like, man, I just want to lift. You know what I mean? And for me, that's when it's super hard for me personally to go out there for Raw Nats and to really try to get the job done. Whereas with Worlds, I don't, the few friends that I do have, I can watch you guys lift if I need to watch you lift. But for the most part, I go, I retreat. I don't say anything to anybody. I'm in my cave until it's time to get it going, and it's a wrap. Raw Nats, it's like it's a reunion. You know what I'm saying? And you only see how everyone's doing, and it sucks, man. But I love it. But it kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Bryce, how do you feel? How do you approach nationals versus Worlds, or even a competition in general? How do you handle the pressure of that?
I liked Worlds. Both times that I've been to Worlds, I liked Worlds way better than Nationals. Like LS said, Nationals feels like a lot more pressure because it's a stepping stone. Like, you want it to be a stepping stone onto what's next. So you want to do your absolute best, and know there's a lot on the line, and that, like, if you don't do as well as you think, like, that changes how you compete next year and the whole schedule. And then kind of like once Nationals is over and you get a win, it's a little bit like the pressure's off because although, you're kind of leading up to a world championship where you really want to win, it's kind of the end of the line. It's not like a stepping stone to something else. So you get to just kind of put it all out there and focus on you. Whereas at Nationals, I feel like you kind of have to focus a little more on what other people are doing and stuff like that. I felt way more nervous at Nationals than I did at Worlds.
Yeah, man.
Just like LS said too, I would love it if like there was a Nationals that I could just go and watch and just chill and hang out with everyone and not competing. Just watch all my bros like lift and watch all my friends lift and talk TSA, just have fun and film some videos. But it's not like that. And you have to work. Yeah. What about you, Taylor?
Yeah, so I would definitely say Nationals, I felt more pressure.
Yeah.
Each Nationals, because I don't know. I feel like 74s, man, they're such a wild card.
That's exactly what I was going to use to describe it.
Yes, dude.
You don't know who's coming in anymore and may pull something freaky to win. Mm-hmm. Like the 74s, our deadlifts are absolutely insane. Like we're out deadlifting the 83s.
Yeah, you really are.
And it's just insane. If you don't have that ace in your pocket, your total is in jeopardy.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So for me, I've been blessed with a good bench and pretty much good squat and deadlift, but I still worry like these kids can come out of nowhere and I may lose at Nationals and not go to Worlds. Because I feel like Nationals, each of us, we built so much pressure because it is that step you have to get over to get to Worlds. And then once you get over that hurdle, it's like, you're in the clear.
Oh, man.
Worlds. This is now the fun begins, right?
Yeah. Well, let me ask you guys this, because this is something that, you both actually have done this. Do you feel that and again, for some reason, I've always just kind of taken the approach for the Arnold. We're talking the Arnold right now. You guys have both done some like just stupid numbers at the Arnold, right? And for me, I've never really just done crazy numbers. I've done pretty decent numbers in Arnold, but I always, my camps always let's chill out, relax a little bit, when you guys, go and you put up these stupid numbers, these world record, unofficial or not, I don't care. You're putting up some stupid numbers. Like what kind of pressure is that on you? I mean, is that additional pressure? I can't say that it's not unneeded pressure, but is that any type of pressure that you feel like you've kind of heaped on yourself just having just an amazing Arnold? Because people forget, even though, I mean, there's no really like nice way to say it. Like we're kind of mainstays when it comes to the Arnold, and every year I'm like, I don't think I'm gonna do it, and I'm like, my bro's doing it, I guess I'm gonna do it. You know what I mean? Like, we hardly get to see each other as is, and I think sometimes I use the Arnold as an excuse to go see my friends, but then like, I guess I'll throw a competition in there. Like Bryce, I think Bryce, I mean, you've had some really good meets, but I think, well, was it last year's Arnold? Or was it year before? It was like, I think maybe it was I think it was last year's Arnold where it was kind of like, oh shit, Bryce is that dude right now. And like I was like, did you just see that? Like I was like that dude in the crowd doing that. Like, and of course Taylor, man, you put on the clinic of all clinics at the Arnold this year. Like that was like, okay. Atwood's here. Like, you know what I mean? Like, okay, let me say, I'll say this because it's crazy to see, with I can say this with Bryce because, I in terms of just weight and weight class, everything, I mean, Bryce is one of those like, oh shit, dude, as soon as he gets where he needs to go, it's a wrap for everybody. And and literally, as soon as he got comfortable in his own skin, it was a wrap. And I mean, that was awesome. With you, Taylor, I was kind of like, dude, is there a ceiling for this dude? And no joke, I was like, you know what? Because with us, it's always like, all right, I guess either I'm gonna have to try to beat, Christoph, or Bryce is gonna have to beat Christoph. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? And with you, with Taylor's like, all right, so which Russian is he gonna have to go against to try to get the crown? You know what I mean? Like, it is what it is. And that performance at the Arnold was like, oh, he's here. He is here. So, like, for those of us, speaking mainly about myself, that don't put up world record numbers like that, like, what is that like? Is that extra pressure going into Worlds? Do you feel any type of, like, additional pressure?
No, so I'll give you some background into the Arnolds. I got invited at work to do this corporate rotation at the end of the year, leading into January. And it lasted until, I don't know, maybe January, like late January, early February.
Right.
So I was only able, honestly, to lift maybe 4 times the entire month because I was literally going up to work every day. I couldn't train.
Right.
So I only had maybe 4 or 5 weeks to get ready for the Arnold, like a true peak. And the entire time, I'm just thinking to myself, oh, it's just the Arnold. Like, we're there to have fun. It's like you said, I'm just there to see people, hang out. I'm not having to make a weight class because it's based on Wilks. So I wasn't worrying about cutting weight or maintaining weight. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to enjoy myself. And I lifted all the pressures of lifting off of me.
Oh, man.
I let it go, Like, I had no worries in the world. I was like, let's just train. We're going to train. We're going to do what we do.
Right.
And this was honestly the first prep that I had 0 hiccups leading into a competition. Like this past World, I had a TFL flare-up on my right quad. So it screwed up my peak.
Interesting.
And I wasn't able to... I wasn't even able to lift anything over 90% leading the Worlds. For the Arnold, I was lifting 95, 97% of our estimated 1 rep max, and I was blowing through them.
Yeah. Taylor, I wonder if the kind of work trip and the shortened prep and the decreased pressure kind of helped you.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
It 100% did.
I'm gonna do the Atwood. I'm doing Atwood next for going to the Raw Dats. That's something to do.
Yeah, there was because everyone was asking me, oh, it's the Arnold. Like, are you nervous or this and that? You're gonna be on the main stage, and I'm like, honestly, I'm just going to lift. If I win, I win. If I don't, I don't. I'm going to post a good total. It's just based on looks, so that's it.
Yeah.
Must be nice.
It was my best meet to date.
Well, I mean, I'm in a weight class where looks doesn't even matter. So 93 is kind of like 93 is like Wilkes is like this to the 93s. So Bryce, what about you? What about we just had that monstrous total and just it was just dude, you put on a very very good show last year.
Yeah.
I mean, you do every year, but last year was like it was coming out.
Yeah, it's been a really mixed bag for me, the Arnolds, and like I think I'm realizing that I'm probably like a 2 meet per year kind of guy, and that when I throw that third meet in there, it's a huge wild card.
Oh yeah.
So like first time at the Arnolds, like I had a nervous breakdown like after squats and before bench, and just like kind of had to get my shit together. Second year for Arnold, I had a great time. I did really well, and this third time at the Arnold, I barely felt in my body and I barely remember the experience. So it's been like super hit and miss. Like world record performance 1 year and then like never want to go back another year.
Man.
So like it feels like a lot of pressure, you know?
Right.
Like it's almost an exhibition. There's
Yeah.
a ton of people, there's the lights, it's hot, you know, it's distracting. There's a whole expo going on at the same time. The crowd's big, the hype's big. There's music. It's like a whole production kind of thing.
Right.
And you know, I mean, at the end of the day, it's a barbell and a combo rack, and you're lifting the same damn weight, but it doesn't feel like it. There's all this external stuff that, like, you still consider in some ways. And I think the most you can make it just feel like a barbell and a combo rack, and you're in your perfect training environment, the better you're going to be. And I wasn't able to find that like 2 out of 3 times. So I'm getting better. But I think like in terms of peaking the right amount of times, probably two big peaks is going to allow me to make more progress per year than I would otherwise.
Yeah, I'm starting to see that with my body. Like it's just, you know, Taylor's smart because Taylor realizes he has a good bench, but he's not a slave to his bench. And I'm trying to get better at saying no to a lot of invitations. But I mean, you know, I like to travel, so I mean, to have an excuse to travel and you know see the Caribbean and all that stuff for these NAPF meets is just those bench onlys are just oh man, they're wonderful.
Ellis, you're saying that as you squatted 700 pounds in training in the lead into IPF Worlds. So
listen, man. This is the thing. I need to. You know how I am, man. Until I feel like, well, until I'm at that point to where I can execute that on the platform. It's just it may as well be 900. You know what I mean? Like I hope it's 900. I'm a firm believer. I'm a firm believer in, you know, I mean, it doesn't matter till Hill of Beans until you can do it on the platform. Yeah. And, you know, I don't knock the smaller meets. I don't knock the, you know, the regional meets and stuff like that. But 700 at a regional meet is far different from 700 at nationals. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You know, furthermore, 700 at Worlds is far different than 700 at nationals. And, you know, until it's Worlds ready, I don't think 700 you're ever going to see me do a 700 until it's Worlds ready.
Yeah, well, it's cooking. So
yeah, you know, but that's the thing, man. I mean, between that and just, you know, getting the deadlift where it needs to be, you know what I mean? There's a lot of work to be done. And I think, you know, I speak for all three of us when I say, like, that's you know, part of the reason we do this sport because it's never where we want it to be. And, you know, there's always more that one can do to get better. But at the same time, I mean, we still enjoy it. So that's always a dope thing. But I do want to dig a little deeper into just, you know, you guys in terms of just not, I mean, obviously I want to talk about like, you know, the strength and everything. But when did you figure out, and I'm talking to you right now, Bryce, when did you figure out that you were stronger than most? Like, when was that moment that hit you like, you know, wait a minute, I'm stronger than a lot of these guys. Was it something that was just kind of always a thing that you knew? I mean, because I know that you have a background in volleyball, and like both of you have like super athletic backgrounds, but when was it that it hit you like, oh shit, I'm actually stronger than these guys, way stronger?
Yeah, it was right around when I deadlifted like 660 to 675. Like that was like a big thing, and even among the people that were my friends, even among like the powerlifters that I was following, like that's something that you didn't see too much.
No.
And that was kind of the moment I'm like, all right, I'm getting good at this. Like this is fun. This is a cool experience. So it was around there, and that was 2012, 2013.
Yeah,
like
I know it was right 2013 because I remember when we were at the Olympia, and we went to that grand opening of Iron Addicts, and I remember you had 675 when you were doing it for reps. I was like, oh my god. I was like, I had never seen a 93. Like I never seen 7 plates in a 93. That just didn't exist at the time. Crazy to think of it now, but at the time that didn't exist with 93s. Like seeing a 7-plate date, that just didn't happen. And dude, he's over here just pulling shits for reps. I'm like, what? Okay, well, let me go ahead and do this bench press real quick. Dude, it was crazy because I remember I was looking and I was watching Michael Hearn incline like 405. Meanwhile, Bryce is over in the corner pulling 675 like it was freaking paperweight. And I was like, I'm going to watch what Bryce is doing. And I just kept watching. I was like, oh, shit, man. I'm going to have to get on my grind. So, yeah, man.
Cool that day. That was right after Chris Duffin had just, like, pulled 765 or something like that for a few reps. I'm like, all right, I'll just take this bar.
Oh, yeah, man. That was – you know what? That trip was – I think everyone has to have that trip to, like, remind you, like, hey, man, this is actually exciting to do this. You know what I mean? And for me, that was that one. I mean, because – that was a chance for me to meet a lot of the guys that I had followed. And it was weird because not one time did I care about bodybuilding or did I care about doing anything, but I just wanted to train with my friends. That was it. I didn't care about any of the shows. And the guy that brought us down actually at the time, we had second row tickets, second row seats, like for the Mr. Olympia. Didn't go not one. I didn't even step foot in that thing. I didn't care. Though I went to see Kai Green and I met Kai Green at the grand opening. So it was like, all right, cool, done. But yeah, man, for Taylor, when was it you figured out like, yo, I'm stronger than these dudes? Like,
so it's a build up story. I have stories for days. So I started lifting when I was probably 12, 13 years old. My dad had me doing just regular push-ups, body weight squats, pull-ups, and then we got a weeder set. And he's like, once you start maxing out your weeder set, we'll go to the regular commercial gym. And I was like, okay. So put in a few years on the weeder set and finally was strong enough to go into the commercial gym. And when we get in there, I start using machines. I don't even use free weights. And I'm probably 14 at the time now. And my dad was like, once you max out the machine, we'll go over and do some free weights. I'm like, oh my God. Okay. So obviously I got stronger and we moved on to free weights. And I remember the first time I ever benched 135 for a few reps by myself, I was like, oh my God, I'm on top of the world right now.
What machine did you max out?
What's that?
What machine did you max out?
The hammer strength.
You maxed out a hammer strength machine at 14 years old?
Jesus, dude. It's like Bam Bam from freaking Flintstones.
Is this how I do this?
So I remember putting 135 on the bench and throwing it up for a few reps. And my dad was spotting me, but I'm like, were you touching that? He's like, I wasn't touching it. And I'm like, okay, now I think I'm pretty strong. But the actual moment where I truly knew I was different, strength-wise, was my freshman year in high school. I was getting ready to play football. I was probably 135 pounds soaking wet. I was probably 5'2", not any taller than I am now. But we're getting ready for summer football, and LS, you know this, we have our max out day, right? And my dad had me in the commercial gym, and we were doing squats, and I never deadlifted before, but we were doing always like cable rows.
Yep.
And I built my lumbars up pretty well, but I never truly did like deadlift work. And we had a trap lift deadlift, or a trap bar deadlift bar, and we just kept loading it up. Like we put 3 plates on, and I pull it, and my head coach is there. He's like, throw on another 45.
That sounds about right.
And I was like, okay. He's like, do it again. I lifted up, and it was easy. He's like, throw on another 45. And we were literally loading this thing up, right? And now everyone is finished, and we've probably been at the deadlift bar now for probably like 45 minutes. Everyone is now gathered around me. I don't know. I think it was around like 560 something.
Yeah. On
the bar at 135 pounds. And no one else has gotten close to this. I'm a freshman, 135 soaking pounds. No one knows who I am. And my head coach, he's like, let's go, Atwood. So, dude, he got me so hyped. And all the football players were surrounding me, and I pulled it off the ground. And once I did that, I just held it there, and I just let out like a roar, right? Like I do after a nice lift. And I dropped it, and at that moment, I knew that
I'm different.
I was gifted. And
that's what's up.
You were king of the weight room.
Yeah, essentially.
Dude, that's what's about. That locker room mentality will get you a long way, dude. They get you hyped. That's crazy, man. So far, I have a couple questions that this kind of came to me as you guys have been talking. So far out of everything you've done, you know, and I'm talking about worlds and nationals and the Arnold, and I mean all your career and everything we've done up to this point. What's one thing that stuck out to you the most? I mean, I know it's kind of on the spot type talking, but what's one thing that's kind of stuck out to you the most in terms of just impact, in terms of maybe the impact someone's made on you or the impact you've been able to make on someone? I mean, it could be powerlifting, it could be volleyball. I mean, I know you've coached and everything else. What's one thing someone has said or someone has done or you've done or you said to someone that's really stuck out to you the most so far?
It's tough, man. In volleyball, at least, like I used to coach club volleyball.
Right.
I used to work with 15 to 18-year-old kids, or let's say 13 to 18-year-old kids, and kind of being a mentor for these kids and showing them the value of hard work and showing up on time and kind of being diligent in warm up and cool down and kind of like technique and stuff like that. Right. Was really, really successful. And LS, I know you've had you could have dozens of stories on that with cheer you, and you know, we can have some good conversations about that. But on the powerlifting side of things, it's probably like those comments you get from a few people who are like, hey man, like you really got me introduced into powerlifting. Like you kind of showed me this way to do it. Like this sport is now open to me because of you, or thanks for sharing all this stuff about, you know, some of the problems that you're going through. I've had those same problems and I've been able to work through them myself because of you. Those types of things are really the most rewarding.
That's pretty sick, dude. I mean, it's the impact, man. Taylor, what about you, bro?
I'm going to have to say at my first powerlifting meet, at least for powerlifting, my first powerlifting meet ever back in 2014, there was a kid named Scott Sullivan. He's with you guys now, Bryce. Mm-hmm. But he was my competitor. And LS, as I mentioned, we've had that football mentality. Yeah. Where we hate the opponent.
You going against me, you gotta die, bro.
And when Scott, when I came into the meet, it was my first powerlifting meet. I did a little research as to what I needed and what I was able. but I didn't know like I needed rack heights. I showed up maybe 10 minutes before it was time. I couldn't weigh in anymore. And like I had no idea about any of this. I was such a noob. And Scott literally took me under his wing and said, "Let's go get you squat your rack heights. Let's see what else you need done." And he was kind of showing me the ropes in the back. And ever since that day, that kind of like drew me into powerlifting, and that's why I honestly continued forward into the next meet, because him and we were like, hey, I'm gonna beat, because I beat him at that first. He still hasn't beat me yet. If he's listening to this, but it was always okay. I'll see you at the next meet,
right?
You know. And it was that friendly competition, but yet that brotherhood, where I was truly grateful for him for showing me what powerlifting was all about. And even though he was in my weight class, he was helping me beat him.
Right.
And it just didn't make sense to me at first. And now, after being in it for so long, I get it, and I try to give back as well to the community in that sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Like, damn, that's crazy. That's got me over here almost.
That's even the same thing with you, LS. Like, something impactful on me was at 2016. Yeah, 2016 Arnold, when you were cheering on Lane to pull for the win. You were literally out there cheering him on in your weight class to beat you. And I was sitting there and I'm like, man, that, like, I know it hurts LS for him to probably beat him, but it showed the character that you had, that he's still your friend and you want to see him do good.
It's I think I think people at the end of the day, man, I feel like I don't necessarily, it's not even really me bragging myself. I feel like one of my best qualities that my dad passed on to me was patience. I know my time's coming. You know, if it's my time, then it's going to happen. If it's not my time, then my time will come eventually, you know? And I've always had that frame of mind, no matter what, dude. From the time I started sports, from, being, the little kid that nobody knew, on the football team, to, being like all-state starter, you know what I mean? Like, it didn't matter. I knew my time was coming. So, and it's always been that way, no matter, it's been jobs, promotions, what have you. So, when you have an opponent that's out there, either one, two things for me in my head. Either I've already been there and I've already done it, or my time's going to come to where I'll be able to do it. That's it. So for me, if I put myself in the best position to win, it doesn't matter what, he or she does. If I've executed and done what I need to do, I put myself in the best position to win. So if they pull it, awesome. If they don't, it wasn't meant for them.
Mm-hmm.
Vice versa. If they've done everything they can do to win this thing, and it's my turn to go out there and try to pull for the win, or my turn to turn my report in. If my report's better than yours, my resume speaks better than yours, then I'm gonna get the job. I'm gonna get that W. So for me to cheer another man on in this heated battle, it's nothing for me, because you got to remember, we spent at least 10 to 12 years of our lives hoping and praying that our opponent just kills over. You know what I mean? Or hoping and praying for the opportunity to go head-to-head with our opponent so that we can make them be the reason that they lose. So at this point, team-wide, and I'll admit, as even when I'm handling my own people, I'm way worse of a competitor. I'm not a good competitor when it comes to coaching or a team sport. I can tell you that right now. Don't get me wrong. I love my opponents to death. I love all IPF lifters to death. But when it comes to watching you lift or watching Bryce lift, I want everybody to go completely red. I don't care if they get a lift. I could care less. Now, for me, when I'm lifting against them, I want every white lights all around. But for when my team's out there, it's a completely different thing, because I feel like I can't control that. If it's something that I control, I'm going to give you the best that I have. But if I can't control the outcome, all I can do is hope and wish for the worst for everyone else except for my teammates. I'll openly admit that. So like when Lane's pulling or when Ashton's pulling or David's pulling for the win, whoever, Jesse, freaking, it's been like 6 guys at this point in my career. When they're all pulling for the win, I wish them well, man, because I would want that on my end. If I were pulling for the win, I would want them to wish me well. Yeah. So, I mean, and at the end of the day, let's be real. It's just powerlifting, bro. And even though it's a sport that we spend a lot of money on and that we love very, very much, and, we bust our asses to do the best we can, at the end of the day, if somebody were to take powerlifting and just take it off the planet and throw it away, no one would care but us. Straight up. So it helps me kind of put it in perspective. And then again, once you've gotten that W, you're like, all right, cool, I'm good. I mean, at that point, I'd already won a couple Arnold, so no big deal, and at this point in my life, I've won, a couple championships and a world or two. So I'm like, I'm good. In terms of goals that one sets for themselves, I've kind of accomplished those goals. The only other goal I have, to be honest with you, man to man, is I want to freaking get a bench world title and I want to go to the World Games. But I don't want to lift to quit. So that's going to take care of itself. But yeah, like, so, it's cool that, that you guys are able to kind of not only, I'm trying to choose my words, man, to where they'll make sense, because I know the emotion that I have when I say it, but I want it to kind of make sense. Like the impact that both of you guys make and you continue to make, it's kind of cool just because like it's not only are you guys my friends, but I'm like, I can fanboy over you guys and kind of watch from afar. I'm like, oh, wow, this is dope. Like, this is super dope. Like, for me, it's real cool because, like, Taylor, like, we're USA teammates. We're also De Novo teammates, so that's dope. You know what I mean? Shout out to Natalie. I see you, Natalie. Secondly, it's, because Bryce and I, we started a little bit earlier than you did, I've been able to kind of see you develop, you know what I mean? And to a threat to the dude. You're like the man now, you know what I mean? And with Bryce, it's just awesome because Bryce, as long as I've known you, you've always made an impact. You know what I'm saying? Like you've always made this, you made an impact, and from the moment I met Bryce, no joke, till like to present day, like people see him like, oh God, that's Bryce. Oh God, that's Bryce. Hey, you think he'll let me get a picture? Hey, you think he'll get a picture? Hey, LS, you think Bryce will get a picture with me? Like, dude, why don't you just ask him? You know what I mean? So, So when I met, like, I'm just calling a fact a fact. Bryce has always been a superstar since I met him. You know what I mean? So I've never known him any other way other than that, but he's always been down to earth. You've always been just complete 100%, and you work harder. You work harder than anybody that I know that's in your position. That's straight up. There's not a lot of guys. I'm being honest. Mike T was one of the last guys that really was able to perform at a world class level, and have a world class outfit, a world class business, coaching world class athletes. Right now, that I know of, Bryce is one of the only ones, if not the only one, that's performing at a world class level, is a world champion, and it's turning out champions. Which is that's huge. That's huge. And that's a credit to to you and your camp, and what those guys are able to do in the freaking super team that you've assembled. So just kind of seeing your success and seeing like your growth and the impact that you're making. And I mean, I'm gonna be honest, probably the coolest thing is seeing like these Barbell Brigade ads and seeing Bryce on them. I'm like, oh, I see you, cool guy. I see you, cool guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna be honest, like that's. For me, that's huge because, Mike, it's not just, for the people that are, hundreds of thousands of people that buy the gear and all that stuff, all they see is, here's a cool guy, but that cool guy is one of my friends. You know what I'm saying? And, or when they're, when I'm reading, it's so stupid because I don't read anybody's comments or anything, but I read all of the comments they have about my friends. You know what I mean? Like, oh, Taylor Atwood has the nicest hair I've ever seen, blah, 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 and this and that, and this and that. I'm like, that's my dude right there, So it's just real cool because, like I said, growing up, I identify with Taylor in that you know what I'm saying, there's a little dude that no one knew, like, until you had to prove yourself. You know what I mean? Like, that's just kind of the role of a little guy on a football team. Like, you gotta eat more than everybody else does and show that you're stronger and faster for you to get a shot. You know, I just never had the dexterity nor the skill to do anything volleyball. I just chased after the girls. That was it. So I tried.
You know, like, I think
Bryce was ahead of the curve, man.
Yeah, dude.
Well, what I want to what I want to say on that side is, like, I wonder how many powerlifters and how many, like, successful athletes had that underdog feeling at one time, and, like, that was kind of like a little bit of a fire that kind of keeps you in sport, keeps you grinding for a lot longer than you might have otherwise done.
Oh, yeah.
Because, like, I was a 5'6" kid playing volleyball with kids 6'7", 6'8".
True.
So I had to jump my ass off every time. You know, like, I had to work that much harder to get court time and stuff. And, like, I think those kind of formative experiences you guys have had too in football, like,
Right.
those help make you the athlete that you are today.
True story.
Were you able to dunk, Bryce?
I could grab rim, but I can't grab the ball.
Could someone alley-oop it to you?
I was so close a few times.
Okay.
I had the cup, dude. That was the only way.
That's good.
That's the way I could do it. I had the cup. I could dunk a girl's ball all day long, every day. But you give me a men's ball. I had to cup that hoe. Like, that was the only way, dude. And even then, I was like, oh, would I jack my wrist up? Man, the good old days. Now I'm too big to get off the ground. Taylor, never go over 200 pounds, brother. There's no coming back after that.
Dude,
you go.
I weighed 205.
Oh,
What?
God. The most.
Not many people know that.
The most I ever weighed was, I got up to 235 for 2 seasons, and I felt like my heart was gonna explode. Like, I don't think, like, it's one thing to be a fat 235, but to be a solid 235, I just felt like my heart was just pushing just gravy, dude. I'll never do that again. Like, never. Like, I think I've eaten up to 220, and I'm like, all right, this is it for me. This is something I do want to talk to you too about, man, because honestly, the coolest things about you guys is, you guys, honestly, if you guys don't know, these two fellas have probably the 2 coolest dads in the powerlifting game. Like, if you, and this is God's honest, you don't see one without the other. Like, it's so funny. We were it's funny now because, like, more so now, like, seeing Bryce, seeing you and Pops, because you guys you'll be sitting side by side, and the camera caught you guys a couple times, but you'll be sitting side by side, and one will be looking to the left, the other look to the right, and you'll swear it's like a mirror split right down the middle, man. Like, you guys are starting to look more and more like each other, which is kind of cool. Taylor, you'll never be mistaken with your dad because you don't have the hair like he does, but you have the good hair. Obviously, the good hair runs in the genes, but tell me about that. Tell me what it's like. I mean, me and my dad, we're super close, man, and, you know, I talk to him on 2 or 3 times a day, just about a bunch of nothing, but I think the coolest thing, man, for me, seeing, and this, I mean, I'll openly admit, it's been 2 or 3 times with both of you, man, that I see your dads and just how just nuts they get. Bryce, honestly, your dad brought me to tears. You know, those final few lifts, just, man, he was losing his mind. And of course, you know me, I don't hold anything, and I'm balling all over the place. Taylor, your dad gets me damn near every time I talk to him, man. Like, so it's kind of like the emotion that both your fathers bring into the game, it's unreal. And when you look around, there's parents out there, but I don't know that there's any two fathers out there that are as vocal as you guys. And I don't think it's by accident that you guys are champions. I definitely feel like, you know, in my heart of hearts that both your fathers are those types. They have a champion's mentality, and I don't know that you guys had any choice but to have that passed over to you guys genetically. Because honestly, as intense as you guys can be, your dads are you know, that to the nth degree. Tell me about it, Taylor. You can go ahead and start. Tell me about, you know, what it's like having your dad out there. Like, what's that about? Tell me that.
So first of all, my dad told me that on his tombstone he wants the quote, "He was intense."
That answers the question.
So yeah, my dad, man, he's been my absolute rock with this entire just journey of life.
Mm-hmm.
we've obviously had our ups and downs, right? But for the most part, he's pretty much been there through everything. And when you say intense, like that's the word to describe him. And that's kind of how our relationship was formed, and kind of why I feel he's still there in my life today is because he does have that intensity. He loves intense. He does everything 100%. He'll never give you less than 110%. And that's why I think he was intense, because that really is the epitome of who he is. And that he kind of wanted to instill that, and has instilled that in me.
Mm-hmm.
To not give half-ass effort. It's like that's the only thing you can truly control is your effort.
True story.
If you can give 110%, why wouldn't you?
True story.
And if you do more than that, then do more. Like he's just never been one to settle, and that's kind of where my mentality has kind of rubbed off as well, and why I think that I'm so competitive. But yeah,
that's crazy.
And Bryce, it's hilarious listening to those two. I don't know if you're ever there, but oh my god.
Yeah, they're like birds of a feather, man.
They are. They are.
Bryce, what about you, brother?
My dad, kind of similar to Taylor. Like he's been there for like all of my sporting like adventures and stuff like that, and has always just encouraged me. Like if I expressed the remotest amount of interest in something, he would just jump and dive in and, you know, just give me opportunities to explore shit and make it happen. It didn't matter what it was. It could be yo-yos or skateboarding or origami or calligraphy, you know, or volleyball or whatever. Like he was at games all the time. You know, he would come to practices. He would take me to skate parks on the weekend and shit. And it was just like, it's really cool to have someone that supportive. And he comes to competitions and wishes me best. And I always joke that he was my first sponsor. Because he's the one that helps me go to competitions and stuff like that. And similar to Taylor, like just if you're gonna do something, then you do it well.
Right.
And like I learned that from my dad from like an early age, from just watching him play around with choppers and build motorcycles and do projects around the house and stuff like that. It's just kind of like overkill as many things as you possibly can.
Right.
Like my dad and my uncle kind of both had that attitude, and it certainly rubbed off on me, and like for the better, for sure.
That's awesome, man. Like I think,
like he's the guy at the competitions with a cowbell, just like clanking around.
I heard that cowbell.
He used to bring air horns to my volleyball games, and just like everyone else just brings cookies and like silently claps when like a team makes a point. He's like air horning, like obnoxious as hell. And it's, like it's awesome to kind of have that little bit of respect and be like, that's my dad, you know?
Oh yeah. It's awesome watching that, man, because I think the coolest thing, man, you know, with you guys, especially with you guys, you know, becoming, you know, just, you know, the top-notch guys in your weight classes, and just top-notch guys, you know, in the federations at this point, is that, you know, not only, you know, do they get you, but they also get your dads as a package. Like, hey, it's a package deal. You know, you get one to get the other, and it adds so much. I think in terms of this, the texture and the community that you know that we feel being in the sport, I feel like people actually get an opportunity to kind of see it, because, you know, when they see, you know, Bryce, when they see your dad out there with the cowbell and you know, going nuts, he's not just going nuts for his son. You know what I mean? Like, that's the crazy thing people don't understand. Like, you know, these guys are, you know, yelling and cheering on everybody. And once they decide, like, all right, that's my boy, then guess what? Everybody that's his boy they're getting the yell, and they're getting yelled at and everything. And I remember, Taylor, your dad's taking me off to the corner a couple times, like, hey, you ready to do this shit? I'm like, yes, sir. Yes, sir, I am. Like, no. And the thing is, like, you're my son now. Yeah, like, I wasn't, you know, I'm like, oh, you're talking about for Taylor? Like, no, I'm talking about you ready to do this shit? I'm like, well, I wasn't before, but I definitely am now, you know. So it's
it's just really cool for me, seeing you guys succeed and doing as well as you do, because again, all the work that one puts in and the success that you guys have found, and I feel like the success that a lot of people find at this point, it's not by accident. You don't fall into this. There's a lot of hard work that goes into it. There's a lot of people behind the scenes that that don't necessarily get the credit for it. And to see pops out there getting the shine, you know what I mean? To see the fathers out there kind of getting that shine, and it's weird now because I it's cool because the people that aren't in USAPL, like in other federations and stuff, and the foreign guys and everything, they don't necessarily really they hear about it, and then you can definitely tell when the light kind of turns, like, oh, that's his dad, that's the one they're talking about. You know what I mean? Like it's for me, and I mean, and it's weird because as much as I talk and as friendly as I try to be, and as many people as I talk to, those are some of my favorite moments to watch that light turn on for people like, oh, that's Bryce's dad. Oh, that's Taylor's dad. That's the one they're talking about. And they'll get a few people asking for pictures and stuff like that. And I think that for me is like probably the coolest part of our community is like, you know what? I mean, don't get me wrong, your son's a star, but dad's getting some shine too, because, I mean, I feel like they deserve it, man. I think that's super cool.
Yeah, I was going to mention like a super weird and cool moment was when my dad and I were sitting together watching, I don't know, 83s or something like that. And someone gave me a camera to take a picture of them with my dad. And I was like, this is awesome. This is awesome.
That was eating it up.
And like everywhere he's gone, he's just made friends. And that's a testament to him, and that's a testament to the powerlifting community for being kind of so open. But before I let it go, I did want to mention just exactly what LS said about like, we don't get here alone. Like we all have like a huge support network. Like, yes, we have to grind. Yes, we have to work hard, but like, it's an individual skill-based sport, yeah, but it's a joint effort. We have big teams behind us for sure.
Man, it's crazy, man. I think the more I started, and I think I've kind of noticed it with at least with us three. I think initially you start off and you start trying to do it not necessarily on your own, but you don't realize what you don't know till you realize you don't know it. And before I was like, well, it's just me against the world. Let me do this thing. Let me try to beat as many people as possible. And then when you let your guard down, you let one more person in the circle, and they have your best interest at heart. It gets a little bit easier. And then you allow another person in the circle, just enough, to get the job done to where you don't necessarily have to do a lot other than just make your suggestions, be an athlete, and go and execute. That's when it starts becoming way more fun. And, I used to be, subscribed to the whole notion that, you got to do it by yourself or it's not going to get done. And the more I started to realize, like, hey, man, there's people out there that want you to succeed just as much as you want to succeed. And you let those people in, they don't necessarily hinder you, but rather they enhance that experience. And they work just as hard as you do to get you there. So, yeah. And it's cool, like I said. I mean, and you're right. First, that first sponsor you ever have is going to be mom and dad. That first person, that's the first person to believe that you're going to be a champion is going to be mom and dad. So it's awesome to see you guys find success, but at the same time, it's awesome to see that pride and that push that dads have for you, to get to that point. And then you get to that point, and it's like, you know what? When you guys didn't believe, I believe. So it's kind of cool because there's no one, at least no two men that I saw walking around prouder with bigger chests than y'all's dads. That's for sure. So it's congratulations to you guys. Congratulations to the dads for sure.
Wait, it's funny. It's funny you mentioned that, LS, about being the strongest, or them believing in you before anyone else does. Because my dad always told me when we were in the gym, he's like, one day you can probably be one of the strongest in the world. I'm like, get out of here. What do you think? There's no way I'm going to be the strongest.
I told you.
There's no way I'm going to be the strongest in the world. And God damn it, if we don't win a world championship and he comes up to me, he's like, I told you.
That's crazy. That sounds like something you would say too. I'm going to ask you guys. I mean, I don't want you guys telling me the secrets or anything like that because I know. Have y'all both started back into the gym already? Like kind of started back, kind of the chip toward nationals?
Yeah, getting there.
That Spokane run, I still haven't stepped into the gym. I've been taking this vacation long.
So, with that being said, like, are there any new goals that you guys have? I mean, now that let's be honest, man. You guys you're defending champions on both levels, man. Like, are there any new type of goals, or is it just stay the course, this thing stay the same? Like,
I was chatting with Bryce Krawczyk a little bit, kind of about this. He's like, how does it feel? What's next? Blah blah blah. And I kind of feel like there's less pressure now. Like, I get to focus even more on myself and just less on what other people in the 105s, 93s, 120s are doing. Just kind of like try to like enjoy this, B, have fun, C, get hella strong, and just push. So I'm gonna try to chase numbers and just find the next PR.
Yeah.
Like I really want to make some good progress on squats. I kind of want like 700 to be a bad day, and then I want to go from there. 700 on squat to be a bad day.
That's definitely in your sides, dude. Your squat is beautiful. It's one of my favorites to watch. I mean, Taylor, yours is okay too, I guess. Whatever, dude. Any type of goals? Any type of goals you got going on there, Atwood, or is it just more the same?
Yeah, it's more of what Bryce just mentioned. So I'm chasing numbers right now. At this World, I didn't have the top 74 from last year at this year's World. Kjell Backlund.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He got injured, so he pulled out. So for me, even though I beat his world record, I'm still pushing towards.
Yeah.
Like I want ungodly numbers, LS.
Hey, I mean,
I want people to, just like he did at the Arnold, look at me and be like, how the hell does he continue to be strong?
Bro, listen, you're preaching to the choir right now, man. Like, I know that feeling, man. Like, everyone has their numbers written on the wall, and, I was joking with my daddy. I'm like, Daddy, man, it's crazy because all these numbers that I'm doing now for reps and everything, those used to be like my milestone numbers. Like, I want to have that. I used to write those. I used to write them on the wall, take them and safety pin them on the wall. And now I'm repping that stuff. And so I got to a point, this is no lie. After the first time doing 700, I remember I went home and I was bound and determined I want to do it sub 200. Like, I want to be under 200 when I do that. So I thought I was going to die. I'm not going to lie to you. And so I did it. I remember I went home and took a bath, and I just sat in the tub and I started crying. And I was like, I don't know what else to do. Everything that I set for myself, I had done. Everything. And this is before Raw Nats. And I'm like, well, dude, what am I going to do? Like, what is there to do? And I mean, you chase these numbers for so long, and then when you get to them, and you get to them faster than you thought you were going to. Honestly, this is no lie. I'm telling you straight, man to man. I'm a squat 700. I'm a bench 515. I pull 730. Once I do that, I think I'll be done. I think I'm good. I don't really have anything else to prove to myself. And then when you do it, and, I'm like, wait a minute, that 730 was way easier. Well, let me use straps and let me see what 750 feels like. Holy shit, I just did 750. So, guys, I'll be right back. Go in the bathroom, cry a little bit, like, all right, cool, we're good. I got to a point where everything that I set out to do I'd already done, and so I was like, dude, I don't know what else to do. And so now it's like, what numbers can I put on my wall that makes sense? Because at this point, I don't really know what makes sense anymore. You know what I mean?
It's got to scare you a little bit.
It does. It really does, man. Because this is stuff that I would, if there were a powerlifting game, if Madden made a powerlifting game, and we have a 93, and everything was 999, 999 all the way down, I'm like, dude, I'm at 9 all the way down right now. You know what I mean? And it's weird, dude. Like, you're at a 9.5 all the way down. Bryce, you're at a 9.5 all the way down. And it's just weird when you think about, like, we're literally, there's some kid right now
that's either weight class below or weight class above or in the same weight class, that's these numbers that we're repping, they're writing on their wall is like, one of these days I'll get to there.
Mm-hmm.
Are you serious? You know what I'm saying? Like, so, you know, like now it's weird because the only thing it's crazy to say is, I mean, and I use you guys both as my examples. So I've set a Wilks goal. Taylor, you're my Wilks goal. So it's real simple. I can put your Wilks on the wall. Okay, I'm going to aim for that. But in order for me to get that, I have to use Bryce's numbers to try to get there. You know what I mean? Like, it's so crazy. I mean, I looked 93s for this, with the weight class that everyone forgot. But it's the truth, you know? Like, so the way I gauge it is like, okay, so what is Bryce doing? What is Garrett doing? Okay, can I kind of do that? Maybe the bench, but I'm going to have to work on that deadlift. Definitely have to work on that squat. Okay, let me try to work. So that's how I kind of gauge, like, okay, let me aim for something around that area because it kind of makes sense. While I may not get to it, I'm still shooting for the star somewhere, so I'll end up somewhere up there. Your Wilks, holy shit, maybe I'll have to be like 185 pounds.
Let me ask you guys a quick question. Like, in the history of sport, like if you guys remember, like when the Fosbury flop first came out,
yeah.
This is like this move where you kind of arch back over the high jump
Yeah.
as a way to kind of clear a bigger distance. No one had ever gone over the high jump that way. This guy comes out and like starts blowing everyone's records away. And I think someone had to come around and show that this was possible.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden the records start going up dramatically.
Right.
And like these kind of moments happen in sport where someone shows that like, okay, the sub 6 minute mile is possible. Now
Right.
everyone's doing sub 6 minute mile, or like the sub whatever marathon is possible. And now like everyone's breaking it.
Yeah.
Like, LS, do you think you kind of experienced that in powerlifting where like, okay, you needed to see that something was possible. Now you can chase after it.
Oh yeah. When we seen it with Ray hitting 1,000 pounds raw, when we saw that happen, because for the longest that was unheard of, without equipment, I should say. I think these huge totals that are coming up, I think I will say this. I'll preface by saying this. I believe that the guys, you know, we'll go old school. We'll say, you know, late 80s, or we'll say early 90s earlier. I feel like those guys were just as strong, if not stronger, than we are today, except they were all in equipment or, you know, single ply or whatever. I do believe that at least 60% of those guys, if they lifted today, they would murder us. I'm willing to put money on that. Dude, they were some, I'm telling you, bro, there was some freaking, and it's weird because obviously the more you kind of dig into history, you say like, holy crap, he did this with pretty much, no joke. If you look at these old equipped suits, they're pretty much, you know, Titan singlets, pretty much. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah,
I will say that raw. I mean, in terms of raw category now, the numbers that we're seeing, I do believe it's one of those monkey see, monkey do. Like if that guy can do it, I can do it. But then I do feel like there's a certain point where, I mean, it's the cream rises to the top where, you know, you're strong, but you're stronger than most strong people, if that makes sense. And so you're going to tend to separate yourself from those guys. Again, I can cite David Ricks as my example. He's strong, but he's stronger than most strong people, regardless of age. I do believe within our subculture, there's a small percentage of us that have separated ourselves from everyone else. Not that everyone else isn't strong, but you can't always monkey see, monkey do if you're not, I can't say genetically able, but if you're just not able. There's some stuff that you can do, that Garrett can do, that, you know, that Christoph can do, that no one else in the 105s can do, no matter how hard they try. And, you know, I mean, Krajcek, he's getting there. But let's be honest, and there's maybe 4 or 5 of you guys that, you know, same thing with the 93s, same thing, you know, with the 74s, same thing with the 83s. There's a certain percentage of the small percentage that are able to do what other people do. There's a reason why only Jezza, Ray, Kelly, he's getting there, but there's only really like 2 or 3 guys can squat 1,000 pounds and live to tell the story. I do believe like once you see somebody do it, it puts it in the back of your head, you know what, I can do that too because I can compete with that guy. But then I believe there's a point where reality kicks in like, wait a minute, I actually can't do that. You know, so, I mean, I'll be honest with you, like, I don't think there'll ever be a time where like, hey, you know what, let's put 800 plus on the bar, let me pull that bad boy. I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon for me. Maybe 800, maybe 8, I think 804 is something that I can see myself pulling. For sure.
There you go.
But if you say like, let's go 850, nah, brother. I'm going to leave that to those guys that actually do it for real. You better give me a deadlift bar. But I do believe that, you know, seeing not necessarily, I mean, because let's look at the trends. 800 pull is kind of like, all right, yeah, cool. He pulls 800 now. What? You know what I'm saying? Like, if, you know, the scariest thing that's ever happened to me is to be invited to a USPA meet. Dude, I would get murdered. They would murder me. Because guys my size pulling 800 pounds, okay, let me know what that's like. You know what I mean? Like, I would have to literally eat 5 cows to have enough protein and enough like size and mass to pull 800 pounds at this point in my career. And I'm being honest right now.
I'll get 5 cows for you, man. That's no problem.
Yeah, but I still have to figure out where I'm going to get that extra 100-pound pull from. But yeah, man, I just feel like, you know, we're at a point in our lives, man, where we're just seeing we're at a new golden age of powerlifting, and we're seeing a lot of amazing stuff. I don't think that we're any stronger than anybody else. It's just now there's a camera to record it. There's a you know a means of getting it out to the public so people can see like, hey, there's this kid, there's not this strong kid in the barn just lifting anymore. Like, hey, dude, this guy's going. People, we have the means and the ability now for people to see everything. The world's so much smaller. So yeah, I mean, it's crazy, but I mean now I don't even think it's about the big lifts anymore. I think it's about the people that are the total lifters. Like I feel like the total lifter is, for me, that's the new thing. Like if you're a total lifter, you know, if you have a world-class bench like you do, and, you know, you have a world-class squat like you do, both of you, you know what I mean? You have a world-class deadlift like you do. Like, I feel like that's what makes, you know, Brett Gibbs is a prime example of that. He's an around-the-way filet. He can do it all, and he puts up a stupid total. It doesn't matter. I mean, I love Russ to death, but, you know, when Russ starts becoming a more complete lifter, then we're going to start seeing some battles from those boys. We're going to start seeing some super battles. Like Russ has an out-of-this-world squat. You know what I mean? He has a pretty good deadlift, you know, when he's still working on that bench. But when, you know, he starts becoming more of a complete lifter, then we're going to start seeing those boys battling. That's if, you know, Hubbard doesn't decide, like, you know what, let me get in this game too. You know what I mean? So
Hubbard had a great day.
He had a very good day. So, I just feel like this is the day and age of the total lifter. It doesn't matter if you're pulling, you know, 800 plus. If you can't put, you know, followed up with a baller ass squat and a very solid bench, you're probably not going to be on that podium, you know. And I mean, at least that's what we do when we're trying to do the 3 lift thing. But yeah, I do want to say this. I mean, in terms of just these new goals that you guys have, going to Worlds. I believe Worlds is going to be in Sweden, correct? Which will be awesome. Hopefully I can put it together and actually go. Let's see if I can actually win a championship this time. And not.
Can we boycott 2020?
That's my question. So you know, it's just come through the airwaves. The whole thing. Look at Bryce, like, okay. This whole thing in Belarus, man. So we're going back to Belarus, or I mean, that's where the IPF is. You know, they just agreed to do Belarus in 2020. Crazy because we could have gone anywhere else but Belarus, but it is what it is. I didn't have the greatest experience in Belarus. I was almost, you know, detained. That's a story for later. Obviously, you know, the Team USA took a little hit, and by little I mean actually a big hit. You know, one of our family member, you know, was, you know, passed. I'll say passed. We lost someone, you know, from the USA family there. You know, understandably so, there's a lot of, especially, you know, U.S. lifters that, you know, that have voiced their opinion about it. I mean, I'm not saying, you know, I mean, you have to give me your yay or nay, but I mean, what are your thoughts on it? in terms of going back to Belarus? Is that even on your radar right now? Or
Well, for me personally, my experience getting to Worlds last year was a nightmare. I actually
forgot
messaged
about
Hani.
I forgot.
I messaged Hani because I royally screwed up. So I'm based in New York City. I get to the JFK airport. Apparently, you need a transit visa if you're traveling through Russia to get to Belarus. That's the only time you need a transit visa. I was told by Aeroflot that you didn't need one, and it was on their website. And then I was told by the Belarusian embassy that I didn't need a transit visa. So I get to JFK, I hand the guy my passport, and he's like, "Where's your transit visa?" I was like, No. I doubled and triple checked that I did not need one. It even says right here, I showed him on my phone, Aeroflot, your airline that you work for, it says right here I don't need one. And he said, no, you need one. So he wouldn't let us on the plane. And I literally had 2 hours to figure out what I was doing now. And I was leaving on Friday, supposed to get there Saturday. In the morning, we were having a red eye. I didn't end up getting to Belarus until Monday morning.
What?
I had to fly to Lithuania and then take a bus from Lithuania to Belarus.
Yep.
And your dad, Bryce, actually drove us to the bus station after Worlds. So, my entire, and how about this? I weighed 167 pounds that Friday before Worlds. That Monday, I weighed 161 pounds. I lost 6 pounds just due to stress.
Yeah. Good Lord.
Because I was eating a ton. And that entire week, I was eating probably 3,000 calories. And I just had to eat that much to maintain my weight.
Yeah.
Each morning, I'd wake up and I'm still 161 pounds. I'm like, dude, I'm eating like insane amounts of food right now. I don't even want to eat anymore.
Yeah, must be nice.
It was very eerie as well. Just being there, like, I don't know if you guys remember that the lake kind of that was there. Apparently, they called that like Death Hill or something.
I don't know.
During the World War II, apparently that's where all the bodies were stored.
Yeah,
I don't know if you saw the statue, but they had a statue there, and like a commemoration statue.
Oh no, I honestly stayed in my hotel the whole time, dude. I didn't really do too much in Belarus. Like we didn't stay at the Meat Hotel. I was like, I'm just gonna take the hit. I'll take the penalty. We stayed at something familiar just to be on the safe side. Bryce, your experience, like what is your opinion on it?
Like someone passed away. It's it's super tragic, and I don't think that should exclude it from ever being a venue again. But I don't think that Worlds has been in a location like kind of in this close of a time frame in the same location twice, ever. And I think it should be offered to other available venues. Yeah. From a personal standpoint, it was difficult to get to. It was expensive. It took a long time. Yeah. But I know that's the case for a lot of Russian athletes coming to the U.S. We had to submit visas like months in advance and send our passports to the consulate, which was a little sketchy to me. But send our passports to get this Belarusian visa so we could enter the country. I know Eric Bodhorn had a tough time getting to the country. I'd prefer it somewhere else. I know it's going to be a lot easier for a lot of the Russian athletes and stuff like that too. So it's kind of fair to have it in different spots around the world, but I would definitely prefer it somewhere a little more easily accessible for everyone to get to, and certainly somewhere new that a lot of people haven't been to, having just been there.
Yeah, that would be super nice, actually.
Safety is a concern. I want everyone to stay safe because from what I've heard, something like that could happen again. Either to an athlete or to a family member or something like that. And I'm not sure if that was weighed in the decision process of choosing this location rather than just kind of like details about location and venue and stuff like that too. So we'll see as we get closer. We're still a long way out.
Yeah, I mean, it's over a year away.
Yeah. But I know that Team USA is going to give strict guidelines to athletes and family members on code of conduct, how to behave, where to go and where not to go, and stuff like that.
Here's a thing that I want to ask both of you guys, because again, I want to, the Belarus thing. I just, I don't even know. I still haven't really formed a legit opinion on it. I personally don't know that I would go back, to be honest with you. Just, but who knows? Never say never. The thing I do want to talk about, I do want to, rewind it from the year after next to next year. I want to rewind it a little bit past Worlds, the 3-lift Worlds in Sweden, and I want to stop around May in Japan, in Tokyo, for Bench Worlds. I do want to talk about how my two friends that I have on the screen right now have two of the best benches in their respective weight classes. I do also want to talk about how both of them are just they're killing me, that the fact that they're not doing these bench worlds, they could both do very, 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 very well. I do also know that they both look at the numbers and I'm like, hey, I could have done that. I could have done that. I want to know, again, you don't have to give me a for sure answer, yes or no, but is it even something on your radar? Would
Taylor?
I think you passed it over.
No, and I'm happy to do it because the guy that I would have to battle against, he benches 212 and a half.
Yeah.
There's no way I can compete with that, right? So, I wouldn't travel to, and he's from Japan, so it's in his home country.
Tokyo, bro. You never know.
It's world level, you mean? That's that guy with the crazy arch in the book that he wrote, right?
Yes, he has the Japanese grip. Yes.
For me, it's you have to go to Scranton to compete in bench nationals.
Yep.
And there's a few really good athletes in the 105s.
Yep.
There's a guy here in Colorado who can probably press 227 to 230, somewhere around there.
Mm-hmm. As can you, yes.
Yeah.
I'm not letting him out of this.
Natalie really wants me to go. She wants to do equipped bench worlds in Tokyo, Japan, make a little travel trip out of it and stuff like that.
Me too.
But I would have to compete in Scranton, and she doesn't have to compete in Scranton because equipped is different for the selection process, and you can make the team with your nationals bench, which is super cool. Yeah.
Well, you know what though? I think one time that's how they got Dennis. They put Dennis on once. The one that I won, they actually added him because he didn't compete at bench nationals that we had in Denver that one year. So it's a possibility. I mean, you put up.
If they ask me, I'm down for it.
I mean, I might have to beg somebody to. I just feel like you guys will both do really well, and I'll tell you, as a 3-lifter that goes to these bench onlys, you're so relaxed when you go because it's just you don't feel any pressure at all.
Yeah.
The hardest part is just getting warmed up because you don't. Yeah. We're so used to kind of being warmed up from squat going into bench. Like this is just you feel like. Why do I have so much energy? That was my biggest surprise. Like, why do I have so much energy on a world level? But yeah, that's been one of the things that, that's been on my brain. Once I saw I was in Tokyo, I'm like, wait a minute. So we were going to the land of bench to bench. I'm telling you, man, I don't know. I know I'm shooting for the stars when I ask it, but that was literally if you can see the thing, I have a question and it's circled. That was my question that was circled. It's like, would these guys ever consider doing a bench only? Who knows? I mean, Scranton's not that far away. I mean, you've done it for 3-lift,
Yeah.
It's Electric City. I mean, I'm telling you right now, I'm going. I don't know if I'm going to bench worlds, but I'm telling you, dude, oh man.
Ellis, I was with you when bench nationals was in Denver, Colorado.
Yeah.
And I called your attempts, and I was really pissed off at myself that you didn't make your third because I thought I put the right number on the bar.
Yeah. I cramped up. That wasn't your fault. That was all my fault. I cramped up.
Cramping up. I'm just bench only. Come on,
bro. Relax.
LS.
I tried to put an arch in my back. That's when I was
I
trying to
take
do
the
what
blame.
other people do. I was trying to do what the other people did, man. I was trying to do an arch and all that stuff, man. My right erector just shot, man. I was like, oh yeah, this is never happening again. I'm going flat back from here on out. Well, listen, man, I've taken up as much of your guys' time as I probably should have. So I'm going to do it like we always do. I'm going to go with the 3 questions, or my 2 questions. You guys have already been given the questions preloaded, so hopefully you've had time to think about it. Hopefully Bryce won't say city. So the question 1 is, if you were stuck on an island, what are 3 things that you would take with you? Anyone can start.
I'll start. Well,
Yeah, go ahead, Taylor.
All right, fine. So obviously I bring my my new fiance.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I'd bring a knife, and then I would bring a How to Survive on an Island book.
You know what? I mean,
man.
those are 3 things. I can't be mad at that. Okay, Bryce, what about?
Man, mine weren't too far off, to be honest. I'm bringing a knife. I'm bringing a Kindle loaded with like 1,000 books because they can hold a stupid amount of books.
Nice.
And I'm bringing a solar recharger kind of power cell type thing so I can just keep using it.
See, that's smart. Freaking, freaking. I'm gonna think. What did Ray say? I was trying to go through it. Ray was like, oh my God, he had a bunch of just different stuff. Kelly said, Kelly's my favorite. Kelly's like, because remember when I did my first, Kelly's my absolute first episode. And so Kelly was right after Arnold, right before Worlds, right before he started his World stuff. Kelly says, rack, bar, and weights. I was like, what?
That's a powerlifter, man. That's a diehard powerlifter.
Man, I mean, I've heard a million different things. I think, what did Bonica say? She said something like cell phone and something or other. But, I mean, it's been all kind of different stuff, man. But, yeah, that's always my favorite to kind of hear, like, what people have. He's like, I want a rack, weights, and a bar. I'm like, okay.
Taylor and I are trying to survive out there.
Hey, Kelly just wants to lift. That's all. He just wants to lift. All right,
My
so
survival mode instinct just kicked right in.
I don't have survival mode. I'm like, give me a smoothie machine, give me a yacht, give me a resort.
I want to procreate on there, man.
All right, so let's go. My last one. So, gun to your head, you get 1 song choice. If you recite it perfectly, you live. If you get it wrong, obviously the guy pulls the trigger. What song are you picking?
Me again. I'm gonna have to go with Eminem. Lose Yourself.
Lose Yourself. Do you have 20 seconds? Can you go 20 seconds to lose yourself right now?
Oh, can I? Yo, palms are sweaty, knees weak, arms are heavy. There's vomit on his sweater already. Mom's spaghetti. He's nervous, but on the surface he looks calm and ready to drop bombs. But he keeps on forgetting what he wrote down. The whole crowd goes so loud, he opens his mouth, but the words won't come out. He's choking how? Everybody's joking now. The clocks run out. Time's up. Over. Blow. Snap back to reality. Oh, there goes gravity. Oh, there goes gravity. Choke. He's so mad, but he won't give up. That is he know. He knows that he won't.
All right, you live. That was over 20 seconds. You made it. You're alive. You're alive. Bryce, what song are you picking?
So my 2 answers, my 1 answer because I want to live really badly is Happy Birthday.
Smart. That's smart.
My second real answer is Ice Ice Baby from Vanilla Ice.
Ooh, that's smart. He goes with
Bryce,
it.
Let's hear it.
You 20 seconds.
All right, stop, collaborate, and listen. Ice is back with a brand new invention. Something grabs a hold of me tightly, flow like a harpoon daily and nightly. Will it ever stop? Yo, I don't know. Turn off the lights and I'll glow to the extreme rock like a vandal. Light up the stage, wax jump like a candle. Dance.
Nicely done. So you guys live. You live. Man, listen, I cannot wait to put Raise up so you guys can hear him sing the House of the Rising Sun by 5 Finger Death Punch. You are going to die when you hear that.
Yeah.
Dude, people are going to absolutely love this.
Man, you guys are great sports. Thank you guys so freaking much. Like, honestly, I've been looking for this all day long. Bryce, where can you be reached?
Find me at our website for powerlifting at thestrengthathlete.com. Find me on Instagram at Bryce_TSA, BRYCE.
Awesome. No Twitter, any of that stuff?
No, I don't understand Twitter.
Mr. Atwood, where can you be reached?
Yeah, so thestrengthguys.com, not the strength athlete. For coaching, on Instagram, it's T_Atwood. I post pretty much daily, if not at least bi-weekly. So, yeah.
That's what's up, man. You guys, thank you guys so much. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I have never been excited for two individuals to win that first world championship. I'm hoping that next year in Sweden we get repeats from you guys and we start building the USA dynasty. I'll do my best to try to take care of my end on this end, man. But more than anything, man, thank you guys for the friendships. Thank you guys for what you do for the community, and more than anything, thank you guys for being who you are, for sure. Any parting words?
Thank you, man. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, it's a pleasure, man. Thank you for having us on. Wouldn't have wanted a better conversation with two individuals, so thank you.
This is dope. I appreciate you guys. Congratulations again, man. I'll holler at you guys soon, man. Thank you again.
Yes, sir.
All right, later, fellas.
Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoy doing these things. Clearly, if you want to see any more of these bad boys, if you have any people in mind, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and leave any type of cool note to let me know if there's anybody that you would like to hear, or send me an email or whatever. If you want any type of cool gear that we be rocking, you can go to my website, lsmcclain.com. If you want coaching, guess what? You can go to lsmcclain.com, fill out a questionnaire, and we can hook you up, make you part of the family if we fit together. You know what I'm talking about? Thirdly, of course, if you you know what I'm saying? If you just want to know what's going on in my life, want to know what's going on in a lot of these guys' lives, include a lot of these different podcasts that I'm featured on. Again, you can go to lsmcclain.com, and obviously this thing runs on iTunes. It runs on oh god, I don't even, like 3 or 4 different other forms of or different platforms. So I mean, there's tons of places you can find me. lsmcclain.com, Twitter, IG, it's all the same. So thank you guys. More than anything, I just appreciate the support, man, and we'll just keep turning out this stuff. I got some more dope people coming in the Lost Chronicles, the Lost Tapes. So stay tuned. Thank you again for being a part of it, man. God bless.